Here's an example of vertical angles, and what I want to do is I want to figure out what is the measure of every single one of the angles involved in this little picture. So there's 4 of them. Well, the first thing I think back to is what did I learn about vertical angles? And I learned that vertical angles are going to be congruent. Now, if they're congruent, what do I know about their measures? Well, if they're congruent angles, their measures are going to have to be equal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write that down in an equation format. I just said that my vertical angle measures are equal. So I have my 2 angle measures, and I'm going to say that they are equal. Now I have an equation that I can solve, and once I have it solved, I should be able to plug back in the measures to figure out what those 4 angle measures are. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 70 because I like to work with positive numbers. So that's going to eliminate all the numbers from the right side, which means I'm going to have to get all the x's to the left side. So to do that, I'm going to have to get rid of the x's on the left side and move them over here to the right side. Now I'm going to have 120 on the left side, and I'm going to be left with 6x over here. Continue solving, and I'm going to find out that x equals 20. Now, be careful, that's not my answer. Remember the original problem asked me to find the measure of all 4 angles. Well, I can come back up here now, and I can plug things in. So I'm going to look at the angle that what I would call is on top. The measure of it's 5x plus 50. So I'm just going to take my 5, put my x value that I just found to be 20 in there, add on 50, and I'm going to end up with 150 degrees for the measure of that top angle. Well, being I have vertical angles and I know they're congruent, that means that this one's also going to be 150 degrees. Now, it wouldn't be a bad idea to plug your x value back in there to check it. And I could take 11 times 20, that's 220. 220 minus 70 confirms it's 150 degrees. Now, I still need to figure out the measure of this angle. Well, I know together these 2 angles are going to be supplementary. So I can take 180, subtract the 150 that I just found, and when I'm all done, I'm going to find out that the measure of this angle is 30 degrees. And then the 2 starred angles are also vertical angles. I know they have to be congruent, therefore this one's going to be a 30-degree angle as well. So I found the measure of all 4 angles by setting up my equation, solving it, and then plugging the value back in where I need it to. Now on this next one, it tells me that I have 2 angles that form a linear pair. I'm a huge picture person. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to make a picture of that first line. Angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. Just going to go like this. I'm going to call this angle 1 and I'm going to call this angle 2. Have that taken care of. Now on the next line, it's giving the actual measure of these 2 angles. So it tells you the measure of angle 1 is x minus 4. I'm going to put that into my picture. It tells me that the measure of angle 2 is 2x minus 5. Put that into my picture. And now I think back to what did I learn about the angles involved in a linear pair? Well, they're supplementary. So I'm going to write myself an equation that says that this and this are supplementary. Take that one, need this one, now I need this one. Supplementary means that when you add them together, it equals 180 degrees. I have an equation again, now all I need to do is solve it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 9 to both sides. Now the reason I added 9 is because if I take this minus 4 and the minus 5, add 9 to it, now I'm left with 0. So this whole left side ends up being the x plus 2x, which is 3x. Over here I'm left with 189. Continue on, solving my equation. Divide both sides by 3. I find out that x equals 63. Well, now, go back to my problem. It asked me to find the measure of each one of those angles. So I'm going to take the measure of angle 1, which is x minus 4, and x I just found to be 63, so I'll do 63 minus 4. The measure of angle 1 is going to equal 59 degrees. move on to the measure of angle 2. Well, the measure of angle 2 is 2 times my x value, which is 63, and then minus, times 63 and then minus the 5. Well, 2 times 63 is going to put me at 126, and 126 minus 5 is 121 degrees. I always like to do a little bit of a check here. These two angle measures are supposed to be supplementary. Well, if I take 59 and add it to 121, I get 180 degrees. It checks out. I must have done everything properly. So those are two little examples on working with vertical angles and working with the two angles involved in a linear pair. Hope those examples will help you, and if you need some additional help, feel free to let me know.